Hello everyone, and this is the first video of a Blender course. If you're here, you probably want to learn Blender, to create renders and animations like this, and turn your skills into a real income. This is part 1 of a beginner-friendly course, designed to guide you step by step. By the end of this course, you'll be able to create a stylized room in Blender, build solid fundaments, and gain the confidence to start your first small projects. Stay consistent, trust the process, and let's build something awesome together. Hop into Blender. At first, Blender's interface might look overwhelming, but it's actually very logical once you understand the basics. In the center, you have the 3D viewport. This is where you create, move, and edit objects in your scene. At the top, you'll find the top bar, which shows general settings like workspace, tabs, and tool options. On the right side, there is Outliner, where you can see all objects in your scene organized in a list. Below, it is the Properties panel, where you control materials, modifiers, render settings, and object properties. On the left side of the viewport, you'll see the toolbar, which contains basic tools like move, rotate, and scale. At the bottom, there is timeline, mainly used for animation. Don't worry about memorizing everything right now. As you follow the course, the interface will start to feel natural. The first things you'll see are a cube, a camera, and a light. This is your default scene. To rotate around the scene, you can hold the middle mouse button and move your mouse. Or you can use the axis gizmo in the top right corner of the viewport. To pan the view, hold Shift and middle mouse button. Or hold left click and move your mouse on the hand icon. To zoom in and out, use the mouse wheel or hold left click on the zoom icon. Also, we got the edit mode. You can switch between object mode and edit mode by pressing tab. Edit mode in Blender is where you directly modify an object's geometry. In this mode, you can edit vertices, edges, and faces to change the shape of the mesh. These are the basics of navigation. Get comfortable with them because you'll be using them all the time. Okay, let's go! If you already know the basics of movement and interface, we can start working. Let's delete a default objects. To do that, select everything by pressing A and press X and click delete. Now we need to add a ground for our scene, so press Shift A to open the add menu, go to the mesh and add a plane. Scale it up by pressing S on your keyboard and drag your mouse. Then just press left click to set it up. For more precise control, press N to open the transform panel on the right side of the viewport. Here you'll see 4 main transform properties: location, rotation, scale, and dimensions. Change the dimensions on the X and Y axis to about 40 meters. So our ground is ready. Next, let's create the walls. Press Shift A, go to the mesh and select cube. Scale it up to 3 meters in all dimensions. You may notice that the cube is below the ground. There is many ways to fix it. For example, we could move it manually by pressing G to move and Z to move it only in Z axis and just drag it upwards, which is a good method and I recommend doing it this way, but it won't be perfectly aligned. Instead, I'll show you a clean and more professional way. Go to the edit mode by pressing tab, select the bottom face of the cube, and by the way, you can choose the face selection up here. Press Shift S and click cursor to select it. Now go to the normal mode and click the right button. Go to the set origin and origin to 3D cursor. Now you only have to just change the locations to 0. Now let's turn this cube into actual room walls. Switch to the edit mode by pressing tab, click on face icon or just press 3 and select the 3 faces that are in front of our view by holding Shift and pressing left click. Then press X and delete faces. Right now the walls have no thickness, which is unrealistic. To fix this, we'll use a solidify modifier. Go to the modifiers tab, which is this wrench icon, click add modifier and search for solidify. Here we got a few options. I'm gonna focus on the most important ones. So thickness just controls how thick the walls are. Set it to something like 0.06 and you can play with this value, it don't have to be the same. Offset controls the direction of thickness. The default offset value is good for us. Now the room has proper wall thickness and looks much more realistic. Alright, we've just created the basic shape of our room. It's pretty empty for now, so I want to place a bed in this corner, add a shelf above it and put a desk next to the bed. That's going to be my main idea for this layout. Let's create the bed first. Add a cube, set the dimensions to 1 meter in X, 2.2 in Y and 0.25 in Z axis. Place it in the corner of the room. To position it more precisely, switch to wireframe mode, press Z and choose wireframe. I'm going to create a bed with raised borders around it. To do that, we need to use edit mode. Press tab to enter edit mode. Add 2 loop cuts by pressing Ctrl R, one on one side and one on the other side. Now let's extrude the borders. Press E and drag your mouse upward. The bed frame is ready. Now let's add the mattress. Select the top face, press I to insert it, then press E again and extrude it slightly upward. And the basic bed model is done. But I think we should smooth it a little bit. Switch to edge select mode by pressing 2. Select the edges you want to smooth. Now press Ctrl B to bevel them. If something doesn't look right, that's because the scale hasn't been applied yet. Before beveling, we always need to apply the scale. Let's undo the changes by pressing Ctrl Z. Go back to object mode, select the bed, press Ctrl A and choose scale. Now the scale is applied correctly. Go back to edit mode and try beveling the edges again. This time it works as expected. I'll leave the bed as it is. We'll make the pillows and duvet later. Maybe let's make the small cabinet. Add a cube, again by pressing Shift A, scale it down by pressing S, something like this, and I'm going to position it next to the bed. Now let's insert this face by pressing I and extrude it backwards a little bit. I'm going to create a small gap in the center, so add a loop by pressing Ctrl R and bevel it by pressing Ctrl B. Now select this face and extrude it. To see the edges better, let's turn on the cavity option. Let's make the handles. Add a UV sphere. I'm going to change the number of segments to 20 and scale it down. To position it exactly in the middle of the cabinet's face, select the face, press Shift S and choose cursor to select it. Select the sphere, press Shift S and choose selection to cursor. Adjust the position on the Y axis, rotate it on the X axis by 90 degrees. Press R, then X and type 90. Maybe scale it down a little bit. If you have issues with space to edit the sphere, you can press a slash on your keyboard and you will be moved into separate view. Change the mode to wireframe by pressing Z and select these faces. Scale them down on the Y axis and I think I'm gonna delete a few of these faces. Switch to edge selection by pressing 2 and select this loop by holding Alt and left click. Hit E to extrude and right click to discard the movement. Scale it down and extrude it again. Play with the editing until the result is satisfying for you. Then adjust the position of the handle and duplicate it by pressing Shift D. Change the position of the second handle. And that's it for this part. As you can see, Blender isn't that hard. You've already made some progress. In the next part, we'll continue refining the details and move closer to a finished scene. If you got any questions or you don't understand something, feel free to join our Discord server. The link is in the description. And of course, don't forget to save your project by pressing Ctrl S.